At first, it looked like nothing more than a shadow, a strange silhouette rising slowly from the ocean floor. The diver had already explored many unusual places beneath the sea, but this one felt different. As the diver moved closer, shapes began to appear. Metal structures, curved rails, large circular frames, and then, suddenly, it became clear. This was not a natural formation. This was something built for people, an entire amusement park, resting silently beneath the ocean. The first structure to appear clearly in the diver's light was enormous, a giant Ferris wheel, once designed to lift families high above the ground, offering them a view of lights, laughter, and music. Now it stood motionless, covered in algae, corroded by salt water. Fish moved slowly through the empty cabins where children once might have sat. Some of the gondolas were broken, others hung loosely, gently swaying in the slow underwater currents. The divers circled the massive wheel, trying to imagine what this place once looked like. Bright lights, crowds, music. Now, only silence remained. Not far from the Ferris wheel, another structure stretched across the ocean floor. Twisted metal tracks, a roller coaster. The rails curved dramatically through the water, forming loops and sharp drops. One of the coaster cars was still attached to the track, frozen in place, its seats empty, covered with sand and coral. Small fish darted in and out of the metal frame, as if the ride had always belonged to the ocean. The diver followed the track slowly, shining a flashlight along the rails. What was once designed for speed and excitement had become something else entirely, a monument to a forgotten place. Further ahead, another attraction appeared, a carousel. Rows of painted horses were still attached to the circular platform. Their colors had faded with time, but the shapes were unmistakable. Wooden horses frozen mid-gallop beneath thousands of tons of water. Schools of fish swam gracefully around them. For a moment, the scene almost looked peaceful, beautiful even, but the diver knew something about it felt deeply unsettling. This place was never meant to be underwater. Nearby, the diver discovered the bumper car arena. The metal frame of the building had collapsed partially. Inside, several bumper cars still sat on the floor. Some had tipped over. Others were half buried in sand. One car still had its steering wheel intact. The diver brushed away a layer of sediment. The wheel turned slightly, as if the ride had only recently stopped. At the edge of the park stood a small ticket booth. The sign above it was barely readable. Tickets. The glass windows were shattered. Inside the booth, old control panels were still mounted on the wall. The diver imagined the people who once worked here, selling tickets, welcoming visitors, watching crowds enter the park. But something must have happened, something that forced everyone to leave. And whatever it was, happened fast. At the edge of the park stood a small ticket booth. The sign above it was barely readable. Tickets. The glass windows were shattered. Inside the booth, old control panels were still mounted on the wall. The diver imagined the people who once worked here, selling tickets, welcoming visitors, watching crowds enter the park. But something must have happened, something that forced everyone to leave. And whatever it was, happened fast. As the diver continued through the park, the flashlight revealed something moving in the distance, a large shape, gliding silently through the water. A shark. It passed slowly beside the roller coaster track, unbothered by the ruins of human construction. To the shark, this was simply part of the ocean now, another artificial reef, another hunting ground. The diver remained perfectly still, watching as the massive creature disappeared into the blue darkness. Near the center of the park stood a small food stand. The menu board still hung above the counter, though the words were almost impossible to read. Tables and chairs had scattered across the sand. A few metal trays rested on the ground. For a moment, the diver imagined the sounds that once filled this space. Children laughing, music playing, the hum of machines. Now, there was only the distant echo of the ocean. But perhaps the strangest sight of all came near the far edge of the park. A large entrance gate. The name of the amusement park had once been mounted across the top, but many of the letters were gone. Only fragments remained. Metal frames where bright signs once hung. It was impossible to know exactly what the park had been called. Its name had vanished with time. As the diver slowly swam away, the amusement park faded into the dark blue distance. Another forgotten structure claimed by the ocean. Another story lost beneath the waves. Perhaps one day,